In this video, we're going to show you how to replace the inner tie rod bellows boot on your Subaru Crosstrek. It's located at the front of the vehicle, behind the wheel. Now we're going to use a 19mm socket to remove the wheels. Make sure you put the lug nuts somewhere that you're not going to lose them and you're not going to kick them around the space. Now, remove the wheel. Loosen the jam nut of the outer tie rod with a 19mm wrench. Now we're going to remove the cotter pin from the outer tie rod. To do this, we're just going to use a pair of side cutters. Remove the outer tie rod castle nut using a 19mm socket. Put the castle nut back on a few turns. To remove the outer tie rod from the knuckle, we're going to use a hammer and hit the knuckle right on the front here. Be careful not to damage your backing plate or any of the brakes. And remove the nut. When we remove the outer tie rod from the inner tie rod, we want to count the number of turns so that when we install the new one, it goes in the same place on the inner tie rod as the old one. 1, 2, and so on. 17.5. We're going to remove the jam nut from the inner tie rod. Hold the inner tie rod with a wrench or pliers. Remove the clamp from the outer portion of the inner tie rod bellows. Place that off to the side somewhere that you're not going to kick it around. To remove the inner clamp of the bellows boot, you can use either a flathead or a set of side cutters. While holding the inner tie rod steady, wiggle the inner tie rod boot till it comes off the inner tie rod. Apply grease to the area of the inner tie rod where the bellows boot will slide on. Before installing your bellows boot, install the cable tie. Don't tighten the cable tie all the way down, allowing it to slip onto the steering rack. It may be helpful to rotate the bellows boot while going on. Tighten down your cable tie. Make sure to trim off the excess of your cable tie. If the original clamp doesn't fit over the new boot, a cable tie can be used. Trim off the excess. Install the jam nut onto the inner tie rod. Make sure the jam nut is far enough on the inner tie rod that the outer tie rod can thread as far in as it needs. Now we're going to install the outer tie rod onto the inner tie rod. As before, we're going to count the number of threads going on and make sure that it's in the same position as when we took the old one off. This one had 17.5 turns. I'm going to rotate it backwards till I feel it hit the threads of the inner tie rod. Then we can start rotating forwards, counting our turns. 1, 2, 3, and so on. 17.5. Snug the jam nut down. Rotate the inner and outer tie rod clockwise to align the outer tie rod with the knuckle. The new outer tie rod may come with a nut that has a nylon washer inside of it instead of a castle nut. Snug down the outer tie rod nut using a 19mm. Torque the outer tie rod nut to 20 foot-pounds. Support the inner tie rod with a 14mm wrench and tighten the jam nut for the outer tie rod with a 22mm. This doesn't need to be too tight and needs to be readjusted soon by the alignment specialist. Support the bottom of the wheel so that it's flat on the hub. If you thread the first lug in most of the way, it'll hold the wheel on for you. Snug them down, but not too tight, because you want to be able to torque them and have them move when you do so. And now we're going to torque the lugs down to 89 foot-pounds. Make sure you're going in a star pattern to bring everything down evenly. Once you've completed this job, make sure you bring your vehicle down to your local alignment shop.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.